and shit. No church and we ain't around no bourgeoisie. It can't be nobody stupid. It can't be a race as stupid as black people are. And the only explanation for the way black people are so fucking damn idiotic is got to be robots. It's not the same damn person from the 70s, from the 60s. We done lost our mind. Whether they can duplicate bodies overnight. And they basically kill off a whole race of black Americans. Can you understand what I'm saying? I'm just saying, can you understand? Because I'm going to tell you something. The name of the war was the Clone War. Now, we have been given the knowledge now, and yet, it's still like we're in the 1950s. Worse, because you gave it to the niggas in the 1950s, they would have been with us. I say these is clones, and then I want to ask this question. If your parents and your grandparents have a certain mentality, and at a certain level, 3 generations down the goddamn line, that person, generation down the line, is supposed to be more advanced than the grandparents, right? Black people, 1930s, 1940s, and the 1920s. 1920s, 1930s, and 1940s. Now, these people were the grandsons and the great-grandsons of slaves that was mutilated in slavery, or the greatest Holocaust ever to hit the damn planet. Right? Yet, they produced a culture that wore the suit shit better than the white man, the jazz, and an upward mobility, a northern migration. They produced a culture. Now, I want you to hear this. How can a motherfucker produce a culture out of slavery? You just been mutilated months before. You come out of slavery and you produce a goddamn culture. That's fast and grand. Black baseball, black doctors, black lawyers, black this, black that. In the 1950s, you was a powerhouse. You had to break that shit up. Black segregated schools that were producing geniuses with less materials than the white man. And you produce a powerhouse out of slavery. But yet, these are the grandparents we're supposed to evolve in. Yet, we are in. Wow. And that's how all of them fuck up. That's the ego. Why the hell you want to go on the TV? Oh, we need to go on the TV because most black people need to see. Don't you know the white man, when you go on his TV, he determines on how much he let you get out? You can drop all the head. Okay, edit this. America is being, what is the thing that rules TV? The white boy who never is an illusion. If you go back and read your scriptures, they'll talk about the illusion. They say that they'll have half of the stars in the heavens under his influence. You can't influence a person if you out in California. But now the TV is the eye of the world. And I'm telling you, these crackers done sent all kind of magic to try to kill me and the sister. But what it is the reason why I'm staying alive, because I don't go outside of what them motherfuckers do. Most people don't believe that there's a spiritual world. They say, oh, that's revolutionary. You talking all that old goddamn voodoo shit. So since they don't believe in the spirits, and they don't work with the spirits and shit, the spirits say, well, fuck it. You the man, hands-on policy. This is a hologram. It does not exist. That's why you don't deal with matters on the mundane level. All it is you are sitting, a spirit is inside of you, which is you, and it's sitting before a screen. And that particular screen that it is sitting before is showing a movie. Showing a doggone movie. And that movie is the role that you have right now in your life, which does not exist. It's a series of events that don't exist, and that's brought on by the ego. So they know the concentration camps to open up, and they don't understand. They snatching crowds of them as we go, and the shit is already going down. I look, and in this day and age, I don't take anything as foolishness. Everything is everything, and that's how you get to the other. other levels. Everything is everything. When you rule out something, you just limit yourself because this cracker is more advanced than what you think it is. You see, so now he's the clone. He's the doggone clone at this particular time. Go up under the ground and the clones live on top of the ground. Why not? Since the original white people was clones in the first place. The key to the clones is the clones have complete memory of the other person. So therefore, it's not like the other person is ever gone. It just resumes the same life form because it has a complete memory. So we know that it's not getting any better, but he's a clone. We're going to deal with a lot of that today because they're going to send you the Messiah through these clones. And we'll deal with that in a few minutes when I go into the history of the clones.
Peace to the tribe, peace to the collective. It is the Hood Mystic, representing hoodmystic.com, representing columbiaexchange.com, and of course whiterabbitpsych.com. In this video, we will be decoding the movie They Clone Tyrone, showing y'all some things that I kind of observed, maybe some things you've missed. I'm in the school of Bobby Hemmett, where if it's something to be watched or something that we be entertained by, it's better to study it and it's better to get a deeper understanding of it. Now, me personally, I've watched this movie about 10 times, just trying to make sure I didn't miss anything, make sure I got like the gist of everything. And then beyond that, I began to deal deal a lot with Bobby Hemmett and realizing that either whoever created this movie, They Clone Tyrone, either listened to a lot of Bobby Hemmett or spiritually, Bobby Hemmett was just spiritually attuned to what's happening in 2023 in the 90s. So another thing, this movie is very special to me because I do Patreon readings for $5 a month, and I've done that for many different years, like for a long time. I stopped for a certain period of time, and now I'm back on doing them. Well, during that time, my first initial stint of doing $5 Patreon readings, link is in the description. I was reading for a young man out of California. It was a couple of dudes, they were younger in college, and they were going to USC, and they was into spirituality. One of the dudes that I was reading for, I'm not gonna actually say his name, but he actually is a producer for this movie, and he has gone along to do great things. Like, he is a producer for the NFL. He done produced movies. He done wrote screenplays, So, like, when I have successful people that I work with at a psychic level go on to do great, amazing things, I feel like I did something right in this world. And so for me, this movie and all that it is become in the world was very, very, very special to me personally, because I feel as though I was somehow, some way, a part of the inception of this movie. And the movie is talking about clones. So for me, I had to get to the nitty gritty of the understanding of the truth is stranger than fiction. So what we're going to do with this movie, I don't know how long this video is going to be, but what I'm going to do is go off of memory from what I remember about the movie, right? And then go about some of my notes that I have on my Google slide, and we'll just kind of like go through it. I have like 30 pages, right? But I swear it's not going to be boring, depending on if you're into this types of thing. So what are we talking about? We're talking about the occult. What is the occult? The occult is psychology, astrology, metaphysics, magic, right? Sorcery, witchcraft, chaos magic, to name a few. It Gnosticism, Kabbalah. I could go on and on and on, right? So mysticism, all of these things are very separate things, right? And me, I may look young, but I'm 38 years old. And when I think about my life, I think about studying it all, right? From a very young age, I was the type of person that would lock myself in rooms and libraries for hours at a time. And I felt, when I was younger, I felt cursed, right? I felt like something was seriously wrong with me because I didn't have a car. I didn't have, the big booty girls, twerking in my Lex Luger, whatever kind of car you call that, right? Riding down the strip. I was in the library going through occult, metaphysics, spirituality, things of that, and meditation. All of these things are under the umbrella of occultism. And why is this important? Because we live in a world where everybody since we were born have been telling us what's right or what's wrong. The problem is they are 100% wrong when it comes to what you need to be doing, right? So in order to figure out what's the best thing for you, you better get up on the occult, metaphysical, spiritual bandwagon and figure out what is true to you. Because somebody might say leggings get all of the niggas, right? And I walk outside with some leggings, like it's not going to get the same energy. So you got to be careful. Some of y'all be absorbing energy and imagine it to be true, but when you test it out, it don't work, right? But when you are into the occult side of things, things tend to work. So I'm a very unique individual that has really taken some interesting life path decisions, right? And I cannot suggest anybody follow my footsteps. What I can suggest is that you follow your own footsteps. And why is this important? Because if you are following with your mom, with your dad, with your teachers, with your professors, with your gurus, with everybody is telling you what to do, guess what you're going to do? You're going to do it. And you're going to prepare yourself to how good you do what somebody else is telling you to do. Now, what if you wasn't supposed to do absolutely none of the shit that a person told you to do? You would be comparing and contrasting yourself towards some shit that your source, your soul, never had planned out for you, right? So you gotta find your own way. You gotta take this occult shit seriously, and you can't follow people, because when you follow people, you are a fucking clone, okay? One's in the chat if you understand how important it is to follow your own way, right? And of course, we got to do the call and response, because we're doing spiritual education, right? So when you talk about anything in reference to education and black people, y'all tend to get bored because black people want to get entertained. Black people want to get, you want me to start twerking out of nowhere and things of that nature. But unfortunately, this will be a twerk-free broadcast. Unfortunately, right? Maybe I can get some strippers on my next broadcast and make this thing a little bit more interesting. So before we get into this, I was going to quiet everything down, but I'm going to keep it up because I don't want to keep putting things up and down. Basically, what I'm trying to say is, let's look at the cover art for this particular video. It's very abstract, and it is not the cover for They Clone Tyrone. It's actually three separate images from three separate movies. Now, I need y'all to be so clear on this when we talk about movie stars and actors and actresses. It's certain people, like if you decided to go to acting school, be an actor, be an actress, that's you. You is not this. This is a different level of acting. This is in reference to gods and goddesses, the actors and actresses from the movies that you love, right? If you can just reference Jamie Foxx, if I can walk down the street and ask a person, do you know Jamie Foxx? Yes. 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 That means that that man has a frequency, and that frequency is related to an archetype. So when you cast, when we talk about casting, we're talking about magic, right? You cast a spell. One's in the chat. If you cast a spell, if you don't want to press one, magic wand emoji. Okay? If you cast a spell or you cast a star, you can cast the actor, you can cast the actress, but you can also cast a star. You can cast a superstar. Okay? Jamie Foxx is a superstar. Okay? John Boyega, he haven't been in the game long enough. He is a star. Teyonah Parris, she is an actress. Okay? We got to be clear on this so when you watch the movie, and spoiler alert if you did not see the movie, when you see them in front of the man, when they getting chased by the people leaving the strip club, and the white guy, he can manipulate John Boyega. He can manipulate Jamie Foxx, right? Those are clones, but who can he not manipulate? Teyonah Parris. Why not? Because she haven't sold her soul to the Illuminati yet. Y'all don't really know who Teyonah Parris is. All right? Y'all like, who is Teyonah Parris? But if that was Toni Braxton or Halle Berry, y'all be like, oh, I know Halle Berry. She was in all my favorite movies. So what we're talking about is gods. Okay? What we're talking about is rituals and initiations. And this is more of an initiation for Teyonah Parris, but it's also a ritual for Jamie Foxx and John Boyega to try to usher John Boyega into the superstardom realm. And you never really know because it's not based upon Hollywood. Hollywood will always try to promote a star, right? Hollywood will always try to put a person on the pedestal. But it requires the people to what? Believe in God, right? If the people get behind you, if the people feel you, they already know Jamie Foxx is Django, right? Jamie Foxx is Wanda. Jamie Foxx is solidified. So we also dealing with black people. So we dealing with Orishas. When you watch this movie, you're not watching a movie with human beings. You watching Orishas act out a spiritual drama. And the way that I'm able to decode this and show this is based upon the channels from Orishas, right? So flat out, let's get these main cast of characters out the way. Jamie Foxx is Django or Shango. John Boyega is Ogun. Teyonah Parris is Oya. And this is a Pataki, or a story about Orishas. This is a story about a royal bloodline that has been cloned out of existence. One's in the chat if you are intrigued by what I'm saying, okay? One's in the chat if you with me so far, okay? So John Boyega, he is an actor from the movie. He got his big break from Star Wars. The major war that happened in Star Wars that create the tension throughout the whole Star Wars universe is called the Clone Wars. The thing about John Boyega, he was the first black major hero for the Star Wars universe. Now you got to remember, Star Wars is some Caucasic type shit. That's like Flavor Flav winning a country music award. That's like Sukiyana winning the world's most elegant ballet dancer. First place. You just moved straight up into the white world and took it over. Now, in this world, ladies and gentlemen, it's a black world and it's a white world. If you don't understand this, then me and you live in two different worlds, two different universes. Okay? So, because this exists, you rarely see black people cross over into white worlds, nor do you see Garth Brooks at the club popping bottles with the hoes. One's in the chat if you understand that you ain't never seen Travis Tritt make it rain on the strippers at Magic City. Yet and still, every night, it is black people at the strip club making it rain. Different archetypes. It's going to be the drug dealer there. It's going to be the dudes with money. It's going to be the dudes without money. It's going to be all of these particular variations of black people. And when you observe this in your neighborhood, I want you to figure out where did these type of people come from. Okay? And then you'll start to understand, okay, clones based upon not having no sense of self, right? So John Boyega, he's coming through with the clone energy, okay? Now we have Jamie Foxx. Jamie Foxx has been an actor ever since I was a child, right? He started off in A Living Color. From there, he done did action roles. He done did comedy roles. He done did drama. Now he's foraying into science fiction / horror. This is more of a horror film than it is a science fiction film. This is more of a story about ghosts in the afterlife than it is about quote unquote clones. This is more of a spiritual story. So bringing in Jamie Foxx, you bring in a specific archetype. Nobody is going to be Shango. The thing about Jamie Foxx, when he put out Django, he was the first ever. I'm telling y'all, these men, Jamie Foxx and John Boyega, these are black heroes. If you have a black hero on screen, that means that he is a god. Why am I saying that? Because I've been alive for 38 years. It took at least 30 of those years for us to start seeing proper representation of black people being victorious at the end of the movie. Now, peep how crazy it is. It ain't like it's real life. You know, it is just a whole bunch of made up stories. So it's so easy for a person to say, this black person defeated the bad guy. But what was the trope that I was growing up? And one's in the chat if you ever heard this. Black people die. Black people be the first person to die in a movie. One's in the chat if you ever heard that. Like, it's mind control at the highest level. So what Jamie Foxx did, he killed all the white people. Got on the horse. The horse did the fucking shimmy. And they Harlem shook up out of that joint. Did the Diddy dance up out of that joint, right? You like, damn, I ain't never seen this. We seen Kuta Kente getting whooped. Jamie Foxx in a movie became the hero. That is because he is mounting that Shango energy. And so it moves on into this movie. And so when you watch these movies, a lot of it is like references to old movies. Like Jamie Foxx, at the end of the movie, Jamie Foxx and John Boyega start having a conversation. And Jamie Foxx is talking to him and saying, man, this pimp shit ain't like it was before. What is he talking about? He's talking about acting. How he started off acting and he was like, man, I had it going on. You know what I'm saying? I had it going on. And then he's like, man, I didn't really win the Pimp of the Year, but I remember it. Kind of letting you know that the original Jamie Foxx is gone. He just got Jamie Foxx's memories. So either they market in the movie like geniuses, or Jamie Foxx is really a clone now. Because you can Google that. That's what they've been talking about. But they also say it in the movie. And so there's also another part, if you kind of listen, he's like, man, I had the furs on, and underneath the fur, I had on the Merlot, right? That rewinds you back to one of Jamie Foxx's first movies, The Great White Hype, where one of the funniest lines where he was talking about the Broham, and the color of the Broham is Merlot. Now, either that's a coincidence or they're tying into the fact that we're not hiring you for this movie. We're hiring you because of your body of work. And we're paying homage to that. We're bearing witness to this. And he telling John Boyega, I don't know what I'm getting you into at this particular point. Like, I don't know what we about to do, because this is uncharted territory. So what uncharted territory are we dealing with? We are dealing with magic at a high level, okay? And how do we know we're dealing with magic at a high level? Because we have Miss Monica Rambeau representing Oya. Now, y'all might not be hip to Monica Rambeau. I fell in love with Monica Rambeau in the series WandaVision, okay? Wanda and Vision, right, started their life together on August 23rd. Why did they have that in the show? I don't know, right? That's Kobe Bryant's birthday. That's also my birthday. And August 23rd is also related to Ogun, but we'll have to get into that, right? But Monica Rambeau is the black woman in WandaVision, the lead detective trying to solve the problem, right? In the show WandaVision. And she is the person that is able to go in, peep this out, she can go in and outside of the hex. In and outside of the hex, right? But this is Hollywood, right? Hollywood is the government. So you're not watching one movie. Get that shit out your mind. You watching a whole selection of government classified information being presented to you as entertainment. Or you are getting into some ritualistic mind control, behavioral modification apparatuses. Talking about that movie is good. But then at the same time, you a whole baby mama out here. You a whole drug dealer out here, right? Talking about that movie was good. That CD was hard. No, nigga, that shit altered your brain, okay? From the music when they going through the list of songs to let's Nuck If You Buck, right? You think that if Nuck If You Buck didn't play at the end of the club, people would just start fighting anyways? If you play Share If You Believe in Love versus Nuck If You Buck, you think that people would still fight if you played Share? I guarantee you they wouldn't. But niggas had songs, we fighting in the club, we fighting in the club. And niggas was fighting in the club. I'ma shoot this club up. Niggas started shooting the club up. I'ma be in this gang. Niggas started joining gangs. You think that if you didn't hear this music, you think if your son wasn't listening to the type of music he listened to, he would just naturally be this way? Absolutely not. So when you talk about the hex and the spell, you got to be able to go inside of it and outside of it, okay? Now, the only thing about Tiana Paris is that none of the witchcraft, to a lesser or greater degree, worked on her. So she was able to, for lack of a better words, pull people out of their mire and their muck, right? So let's get into some things that I seen within the movie that maybe you didn't see, and then I'll show you some more like visual representations. So the first thing we want to deal with is the Soma. Soon as the movie starts, it has two eyes, right? So that immediately gets me into this is the big bad. Now the big bad is more of like the Wizard of Oz wizard, where in this movie you don't see the antagonist. The antagonist is like the Wizard of Oz, right? You don't see him. You only see those eyes. It's like Nazi propaganda. So it's like, man, we live in a world where people know stuff that we do not know. We live in a world where you break up with your boyfriend, somebody like, oh shoot, Jermaine and Charmaine have broken up, but they'll probably be back together because Jermaine left his toothbrush. And you know Jermaine brushes his teeth 2 times a day. So at night, he's probably going to knock over there. So let's do a setup. Let's put some spikes in the ground so we can flatten his tire, force him to stay with Charmaine because Charmaine is ovulating. And we want to have a baby between Jermaine and Charmaine. And you just not even aware of none of this. And one's in the chat if you feel like Rockwell. Somebody's watching me. I ain't got no privacy. Ooh, oh. Right? That is the big bad, right? The big bad is the person that have those eyes that is watching us. And boy, oh boy, we think we know because we got a college degree, because we got a job that's paying us over a certain amount of money to where we can pay our rent and go on a vacation and have some money left over. Now all of a sudden, we know everything there is to know about life. 10 times out of 10, you don't know shit if you don't know that you being watched. But do you feel like you being watched? One's in the chat. That's the big bad. But the drink, the drink that they're drinking, right, is called Soma. Soma is the same word. Let me get a better version of Screen Love. Give me miniature energy. I always feel like when we was little, we would be like, I always feel like your mama's watching me. That's all we used to say. We ain't have nothing but mama jokes growing up, right? One's in the chat if you grew up with nothing but mama jokes. Because then me and you can probably be friends. People wonder why I'm the way that I am right now. Because them niggas got on my ass when I was growing up. One's in the chat. One's in the chat if niggas did not give you a break. Niggas made fun of you every single day. you got on that damn school bus. Oh, look at this nigga. You tried to, you prayed to God that they would just give you a goddamn break. Right? One's in the chat if you grew up playing the dungeons. Hey, if these kids grew up in my generation, they would break down mentally. They would break down, they would have a full breakdown, right? So, this lets you know, soon as the movies start, they drinking Soma. They drinking Soma. Soma is the nectar of the gods, okay? They not drinking beer. It might look like beer, but the name of the beer is Soma. Soma produces immortality. Immortality is one of the key themes, right? Because as Fontaine keeps dying, what happens? Fontaine comes back every time he dies. One's in the chat. Spoiler alert. If you haven't seen the movie, you ain't gonna know shit of what I'm talking about. But if you have seen the movie, you'll be like, yeah, damn, that is right. Every time he died, he did come back. That is, and he drunk the Soma. He drank the Soma and he was immortal. Uh-oh. Let me take a sip of this Soma. One's in the chat. Pour you up some damn Soma. Okay, this is Orisha's story, right? So the first character that he come in contact with, we have Ogun and Osain. Osain is an Orisha that's on one foot, walking with a cane. One's in the chat if you remember that character from the movie. Right? The dude, when the movie start, Junebug come to him like, hey man, I'm trying to make $5. If you read the Voodoo Tarot, the fives are who? Ogun. That's the domain of Ogun. That's the domain of Geberah, the domain of war, strife. Okay? So Ogun, say somebody is on his territory, the first thing that John does or Fontaine does is that he starts a war. One's in the chat. Why? Because he not Fontaine no more. He Ogun. His car is green. He wear green hoodies. He wear a green jacket. Why is he wearing all of this green in every scene? Didn't I already tell y'all I was a poet and I never even really know it? But every time y'all get on these lives, these freestyle flows just come straight off the top. So once again, throughout the movie, Osain shows up. He's in the beginning of the movie and the end of the movie. So if you resonate with this character, I'm telling you, Osain is powerful. You start working with Osain, you will start seeing all types of motherfuckers with 1 foot. You ain't even know. Like, damn, it's amputees everywhere. Come to think of it, I just got some damn pizza from an amputee. That shit crazy. But anyway, shout out to Osain. If the energy resonates with you, do your research. And once again, why is it important for you to be a scientist? Why is it important for you to do your own research in reference to who you are? Because then you would have to rely on what I fucking think. And me personally, I'm going to tell your ass to drop down and get your eagle on, girl. And you might not even be wanting to do that all the time. You know, my girl, hey, I'd be like, girl, bend over. Well, why I always got to bend over? Because you bent over and you just stay like that. Matter of fact, just stay like that. Don't even move. I only want you to bend over, so you don't want to listen to me, okay? I'm joking, but I'm serious, right? I'm just playing, but I'm dead ass serious, right? You don't want to listen to me. You want to be able to listen to yourself, okay? And when you able to listen to yourself, you able to be led. And this is very key, very, very key. So let's go further into Fontaine, right? Fontaine is a French word for fountain. Drop down and get your eagle on, girl. Drop down and get your eagle on, girl. All right, spring water that collects in a pool. A fontaine is a natural spring. So what did I say? This movie is a cult. So sometimes you got to break into the Gnosticism. Sometimes you got to break into the astrology. Sometimes you got to break into the psychology. Sometimes you got to break into the metaphysics. Make sure you have your motherfucking shit together. Make sure you know what the fuck is happening, what's taking place. Because if you do, you will be able to decode some shit. And 10 times out of 10, you will have a certain level of peace of mind because your spirit will be telling you, research this, look up this, twerk over here, twerk over there, meditate there, right? Getting all of the codes, right? So let's deal with the Gnostic understanding of a fontaine or a fountain. This is Gospel of Thomas, verse 13. Jesus said to his disciples, compare me, tell me who I am. No, let me put it out. Third grade reading level with all that being said. Let's do this again. Rewind. Jesus said to his disciples, compare me, tell me who I am like. Simon Peter said to him, you are like a righteous angel. Matthew said to him, you are like a wise philosopher. Thomas said to him, Master, my mouth is wholly incapable of saying whom you are like. Jesus said, I am not your master, for you have drunk and have become drunk from the bubbling spring, which I have caused to gush forth. What am I being? That's very abstract until you get into the reference of cloning. Because Jesus is asking his disciples to compare him to something. Right? When you are talking a comparison to something, you are talking about a specific clone. Right? But what if you were to follow your soul? That is the fountain. That is the Ogun. That is the actual master builder of masonry. Being able to not be a clone, but maybe create some clones. Maybe create yourself, create your life, right? And so when you are trying to compare your soul, when you're trying to figure out what your soul is like, you can't do it. It's incomparable because if you are to say it is like something, then you move into the realms of clones. And when you are in the realms of clones, it's like it's not a good feeling, right? When they realize they was clones, you see them kind of like, damn, like I don't even like. It's probably the most frustrating feeling to know like you have a soul and you never really tapped into it, and you've been operating as somebody wished you operated, right? All Christiologies are false. Spiritual truth is ineffable. See, I researched that word, but I forgot what it meant that quick. Too great or extreme to be expressed or described in words. Let's get into this. All Christiologies are false. All religions are false. All spiritual ideas are false. If a person is telling you that you need to meditate, that's false. Would you tell me to meditate all the time? Yeah, I'm telling you to meditate, but I'm not telling you when you meditate, you're going to see this specific thing. You're going to get this specific thing that is going to be what it is. Like, you might have to like, I'm going to tell you how to meditate, and you're going to tell me, oh, I can't meditate like that, right? I'm going to tell you, like, this is how I meditate. You're like, well, I got kids. Well, this, that, and the third. So even if it's right for me, let's just assume that it's not right for you. And maybe you don't have to meditate. Fuck it. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not about to tell you to breathe to live. One's in the chat. I'm not going to tell you to drink water to be hydrated. You just going to either take my word for it or not. Drink Pepsi. Hold your fucking breath. Okay? Why do I gotta be on your ass to tell you to wash your ass. You should just know that when you wash your ass, it smells better than when it stinks, right? So when it comes down to it, let's get into the Latin understanding of this. I want to give y'all the Latin word so y'all know a nigga just not out here just making up stuff. Latin for doubt everything. The omnibus. Yo, what in the world? Let's slide to the left, slide to the right. The omnibus dubitandum. The omnibus dubitandum. Doubt everything, right? Why? Because spiritual truth is ineffable. It's too great. It's too extreme. It's too abstract for me to explain to you the fire lady that comes into my dreams. Right? The fire lady that sets me on fire, and I walk and I scream with the flame, with the flaming sword back to the Garden of Eden, finding fucking Eve and Lilith and swimming with snakes and things of that nature. You like, bruh, shut the fuck up. You sound weird as hell. Okay, spiritual truth is ineffable. Don't even look for it. Don't even expect to hear it. It's too great. It's too extreme for you to understand. One speaks to the ignorant in the terms with which they are familiar. Percept upon percept and line by line. But they are scandalized at the first word of truth. Because the moment that we get into the truth of clones, like everybody is clones at this point, and we are a result of clones, and it ain't even white people that fucked us over. It's our own people that fucked us over. However you want to cut that up, however you want to slice that. Because if we got into the knowledge and the history of this thing, our people was the original people that created all things. So if we oppressed by anything, we oppressed by our own motherfucking people. Even when you get into the mythos of Ogun. Ogun is the owner of all metals. The thing about Tyrone or John Boyega is that in all of the depictions, whether it was the end where he was Tyrone, he had gold teeth. He had metal in his mouth. So another key, he wore green. He wore a green jacket. He wore a green sweater. He drove a green car. Okay? He's associated with metals. He always had a gun. Ogun is associated with weapons, but he's also associated with tools. The same metals that you make a weapon is the same metals you make a tool. You're going to need tools and you're going to need weapons. Ogun is a blacksmith. When you seen Ogun or John Boyega or Fontaine in this first scene, he was lifting metals. So you mean to tell me this boy is not Ogun? Okay. I don't know what they're trying to tell you, but they're trying to tell you. I know what they're trying to tell you. Maybe your ears is closed. Maybe you don't want to see. But you need to open your heart and mind and understanding to Ogun. Because the thing about Ogun, even the other Orishas chastise Ogun. Why? Because Ogun wanted to have sex with his mom, who is the major relationship in the particular movie. It is Fontaine's relationship with his mom. Every time he gets up, he knocks on the door. Mama, you want some of this food? Come to find out, his mama not even there. Why? Because his mama don't even like him. Why? Because this is a Pataki. This is a sacred story. I didn't write the movie. I'm just reporting the movie. Who is Ogun's brother? Shango. Who do Ogun and Shango have a triangle relationship with? Oh yeah, what is this movie about? Essentially, it's about two men and a woman going on a quest. What is that? What is that essentially to black people? That is a pataki. That is a spiritual story. So as quick as we get into, boy, that was a good movie, you might want to sit back and study and understand these things. Because if you could just, man, to me, the spiritual side of things is just so real and it's so transformative. And I don't know why or who or what. I never would promote Orishas if Orishas have not changed my life. One's in the chat if Orishas have changed your life, working with them, having a relationship with them. Because I am not a Babylao. I'm not a priest. I never been to a priestess. My wife never did none of that. My girlfriend never did none of that. But in reference to the relationship that they have with Orishas, it is a very personal relationship and a very powerful relationship. So I wouldn't watch these movies and think, oh yeah, it's just some, black people being creative or some white people being creative. Man, they really edited the hell out of that movie. All of those things can be true, but at a certain point, I'm going to just look a little deeper into it and say maybe a movie is more of a sacred story or a pataki than it is an actual feel-good movie. So throughout the beginning of the movie, Junebug, right, which is also, it is Ogun's brother, little brother, but is also Ishu or Elegua. Ogun and Elegua are brothers, okay? What is Junebug telling Fontaine about in the car? He's talking to him nonstop about SpongeBob. Well, why is he talking about SpongeBob nonstop? Because sponges reproduce both asexually and sexually. Their cells clone themselves to create asexual buds, which either break off and form new colonies of cells or remain attached and increase the size of sponge. So sponges essentially clone themselves into existence. Just another Easter egg that was a part of the movie. So after Junebug leads Fontaine along the way to meet Osain and, talk about SpongeBob, he gives him $5. Understanding that he could have gave him $7, he could have gave him, $2.50, he could have gave him $3. It's a movie, right? But we dealing with particular correspondences where in Santeria, in the Voodoo Tarot deck, Ogun, right? Ogun, this is the card of Ogun, right? This is just the Ogun card. And the number for that card is 5, right? So just trying to let y'all know, like, this movie is more to do with Ogun than anything. And I'm not done. I'm nowhere near done with the reason why I feel that. And the reason why I feel that is important. And the reason that Ogun is I'm going to end this video with explaining to you why Ogun is connected to clones. But we have to have an understanding of a cult where everything is split up, but it's also one and the same. So I can show you better than I can tell you, okay? So one of the things in the movie is that wherever Fontaine was at the store, he would buy what? Cigars. What is one of the offerings to Ogun? It would be cigars, right? So this could be, once again, a coincidence, or it's just another symbol, another sign that they're talking about Ogun. Okay? So let's deal with the larger aspect of this movie that I feel that the authors and the people who were being spiritually led to create this movie to say, right? We've all heard we was kings and queens before, right? But we also know that we are slaves. So when we first meet Charles or Slick Charles or Jamie Foxx, he is at what hotel? He is at the Royal Hotel. Okay, there is no coincidences, right? The Royal is in reference to Tyrone. Why? Because Tyrone is a kingdom in medieval Europe. Okay, that got taken over. Now, why is that important? Because we actually think as Black people that we were not in medieval Europe, right? When we hear the stories of the migration of people from England to America, we automatically assume that it was white people on those boats that came here. Okay? We automatically assume that. The founding forefathers, that they were white, the monarchy in England, that they were white, but that is not true. Charles II appearance was anything but English, with the sensuous curling mouth, dark complexion, black hair, dark brown eyes. He resembled his Italian maternal grandmother, Marie de Medici. One of the nicknames he acquired was the Black Boy. So they cloned Tyrone is a kingdom in Europe. But the people who have been cloned do not know that they are descendants from royal blood. They think that they are descendants from slaves. So when they cloned Tyrone, they cloned the people of Tyrone. They have cloned the royals into a whole history, into a whole archetype, into a whole monstrosity, or minstrelsy rather, into thinking that we are good old coons and good old niggers from the South. When in fact, we don't even know or remember who we are. We are told a narrative and given that narrative as if it is fact. In reality, it isn't fact, right? This is why you must do your own research. This is why you must be a scientist, right? So you have Slick Charles, but you also have CHA, which gives you the prefix for Shango, right? So you have Shango and you have Ogun and you have these Orishas, but you also have this royal theme that is playing in the background. Very subtle. So, but you also have people who are running TV. And the people who are running TV are clones. And they kind of subtly break this down to you, right? So Fontaine deals with Slick Charles. Slick Charles is like, gives him some money. And Fontaine goes back outside, gets in his car, steps out the car, and he gets shot. Then the next day, he comes and he's like, back. And then, Slick Charles is like, man, they just 50 cented you. Letting you know that 50 Cent is a clone because 50 Cent got shot 9 times. Right? And came back, but not only came back, he became one of the biggest stars ever. But what is he doing now? Is he making music? No, he doing the TV. He got one of the shows that is turning people into clones. Power. Right? BMF. All of this stuff they are trying to program into people who still watch TV. And a lot of people still watch TV, unfortunately. Even more so, his biggest song in the club was set in a cloning facility. Just some shit that y'all never really peeped out. So at that point, they go looking for Yo-Yo or Oya, And she's like, man, she's going through her like sexual things that she can provide. One of those things she could provide is a Shalamar. This is another Easter egg that means two things, right? One, this movie is reference of two men. You got Howard Hewitt, Jody Watley, and the other dude that don't nobody really know about. But then it's also representing the music that people used to listen to in the 80s versus the music that people listen to now. If you was to turn on some Shalamar, you instantly going to deal with some high vibrational music. Right? Instantly deal with some high vibrational music versus the music that you turn on now, you instantly going to deal with some low vibrational music. So that is a Easter egg that I think that they wanted to drop, that people either noticed it or didn't notice it. From that point, when Fontaine first gets killed, part of this is her desiring to get to Memphis. So you have Memphis. The thing about Memphis, that's where Martin Luther King got killed at. Where did Martin Luther King get killed at? Martin Luther King got killed at a hotel or a motel. Where did Fontaine get killed at? At a motel, right? Kind of alluding to MLK was a clone. Always been a clone, right? But even more so, it was a TV show called Clone High, right? And Martin Luther King is a student at Clone High, right? And a 16-year-old genetic clone of the American activist and civil rights movement leader Martin Luther King Jr. Now, once again, these all could be figments of my imagination, but at the same time, the title of this video is called The Truth is Stranger Than Fiction. So 10 times out of 10, we'll watch a movie and think that none of this shit can happen in real life. But at the same time, much stranger shit is happening in real life. Like people is getting cloned. Today, Tory Lanez went to jail for 10 years. He went to jail maybe because he committed a crime, but I can guarantee you they about to clone his ass. Right? And people would say, back in the days when we say, you know, Gucci Mane is a clone, right? People would say, why would they clone Gucci Mane? That was everybody's excuse. Why would they clone Gucci Mane? Why would they clone Gucci Mane? Because what you talking about is a person who can influence a lot of black people to crash out. That's why they would clone. And a lot of the rappers are clones, right? It was actually a rapper that came out in the 2010s and straight out said, his name was Kid Boo. He said he was a clone. And people just can't, I feel like it's a real level of cognitive dissonance, right? It's a reason that they send the people with the talent to prison. And it's not because they are a threat to society. It's real live criminals out here. It's real live crooks out here that really is like causing destruction to the world. And not to say that I know what the inner workings is of what shit is happening on the streets, but a pattern is a pattern. Dudes go into jail looking one way and come out looking a whole nother way. Gunna, all of that is just like, okay, people sign these record deals and they do not be reading the fine print, right? And so a lot of the people that you know and love are a result of being cloned. And I'll explain it further as we get on with the broadcast. So even people like your close friends and family, 10 times out of 10, they go to beauty supply stores, right? 10 times out of 10, it's the weekend and they getting turned up and they drinking liquor. And 10 times out of 10, they looking at you and talking to you about this shit like, you know what? What the hell? Why do it matter? Right? Why do it matter? you wouldn't be doing that stuff if the liquor store wasn't there. You wouldn't be doing that stuff if the beauty supply store wasn't one on every damn block. And every fucking plaza is a beauty supply store with all of the same products. So you might be conscious, you might be woke to use all natural products, but what you have is a majority of people who don't know no better that's just about to just do the thing that people is going to do in the hood. So if it's a chicken place, people just gonna pull up to the chicken place, eat the chicken like nothing is wrong with it because everybody else eat chicken. This is how simple and subtle it is. It's these buildings that we live in, these neighborhoods that we live in that are like the hub of the cloning centers. So whether, your mom might just feel like she needs some spiritual upliftment and go to church, never knowing it's a cloning center. A person could be thirsty, wanting something to drink, going to the convenience store, get a soda. And it's like that simple. The ingredients, the chemicals, everything that's happening, none of this shit that's going on right now, we is putting this shit together. We giving people $2.50 and we taking our products. So the actual understanding and what's happening, if you're not able to just kind of take a step back, then 10 times out of 10, you're dealing with a level of oppression and cloning that's kind of like, it's kind of crazy at this point, right? And so it really, like, when you look at these communities, every ghetto, every hood, it look the same. When you're in a black community. And every person in the hood, they just trying to get out. They just trying to upgrade. They just trying to, get further away from the hood as possible. Meaning that it's people there that don't think like that. It's people there that just kind of happy with where they at. And 10 times out of 10, this is the zombie apocalypse that we was afraid of. It's happening right now. So in the movie, it's a particular point where they're like going to the first drug house. And when they're getting out the car, Tiana or Yo-Yo says, this is some X-Files type shit. So this brings us into the realm of ghosts, in the realm of this being a horror movie, in the realm of like people being possessed and energies possessing bodies, right? So boom, it's some X-Files shit. It's actually a X-Files episode, season 6, episode 6, called The Haunted House. Right, mind you, they're going into a haunted house. Now, long story short, right, Scully and Mulder go to this haunted house. And within the house is people playing games, like these ghosts is playing games with them. Like Scully think Mulder done shot her. Mulder done think Scully done shot him. Right? They shooting each other, but the whole time the ghosts or the spirits is putting a spell on them. Once they get to a point where they like, man, this shit can't be real, the spell is broken, right? So once again, another Easter egg in this movie that you probably just kind of just walk over, right? But ghosts, we gonna get into part of the ghost aspect, right? Because it's a part in this movie where Yo-Yo is talking to this trick, and Fontaine and Charles, I want to say Shango so bad, I'm gonna start calling them Shango. They pull up to Yo-Yo and they're like, the dude's like, wait, you know what I'm saying? And then Charles was like, we gonna turn you into a half a nigga, right? That shit was crazy. But the half a nigga, I immediately was like, man, they talking about 13 Ghosts, right? And 13 Ghosts is a movie. It's an old movie. It's about this haunted house filled with these ghosts, right? And these ghosts is people who actually lived, but in regard to the circumstances for which they have died, they haven't transcended into the afterlife. They exist in the world as ghosts, right? So it's kind of like a parallel between ghosts and clones, because the clones only know they clones once they die. And it's not as if they're like doing big shit, right? So it could be at a different level that Tyrone don't actually exist and Tyrone is a spirit. So this is kind of like the undertone of the movie from my understanding. When they're walking into the haunted house, the movie that's playing is Bloodsport. Bloodsport main actor is Jean-Claude Van-Damme. Jean-Claude Van-Damme was in one of my favorite movies growing up, Double Impact. Double Impact is, for lack of better words, about clones or twins, however you want to look at that. But once again, just kind of something that I feel like they thrown in there to kind of just double down on the point of clones and twin souls and things of that nature. So the person that kills Fontaine, his name is Issac. Why is this important? Isaac is the son of Abraham and Sarah in the Bible. Isaac is the father of Esau and Jacob. Now, if you know anything about Elijah Muhammad and the teachings of the NOI, Jacob is Yakub. What is Yakub important about? What is he important for? Yakub is a black scientist introduced to the public by Elijah Muhammad. Elijah Muhammad told of his history as being the father of mankind, the maker of the white race. This teaching proved to be one of the most explosive within the Nation of Islam's theological and mathematical doctrine. Thought to be a myth, especially among those who gravitated more towards Orthodox Islam. Universal Soldier too, dealing with the clones. Which, by the way, don't accept Elijah Muhammad as being authentic, but since the cloning of the sheep dolly, I'm just taking little screenshots off the internet. Don't take anything, do your own research, of course. I'm just giving you a basis of things that's already out there. So you have Isaac being the father of Jacob, but Jacob is also Yakub. In the beliefs of the NOI, Yakub was a black scientist who lived 6,600 years ago. We got that 666 thing again, X-Files, season 6, episode 6, right? Began the creation of the white race. He is said to have done this through selective breeding, which referred to as grafting. The Nation of Islam mythology states that Yakub is the biblical Jacob. Okay? His father is Isaac. So throughout the movie, at the beginning of the movie, you see Isaac. Towards the end of the movie, to relieve the tension, to solve the issue of the movie, they go to Isaac because Isaac is the one that constantly takes him out, but also brings him back, right? So once again, they could have named the dude that played Isaac Jermaine. They could have named him Maxwell. They could have named him Tom, but they chose to name him Isaac. It could be a coincidence, but 30 pages of different coincidences it stops being coincidences to me. So it's also a part in that movie where you see these missing flyers for a lady named Aaliyah Jackson. And this is the one that they are referencing to when they say they're Clockwork Orange niggas. That's what Charles says. What does he mean by that? What he means by that is that we are in a world where our history have been stolen from us, our dignity have been stolen from us, our truth have been stolen from us, our reality have been stolen from us, and we not even mad about it. We don't want to fight about it. We want to have a peaceful, loving existence. And these people done took away our whole bloodline and having us just look at this whole situation like, well, what the hell? And the fact that we don't want to fight back, and the fact that we don't want to reclaim nothing, and the fact that we just okay with the status quo means that you have submitted to behavior modification techniques to earn your freedom, which you are conditioned to accept violence. And now you are defenseless and you become the victim of your prior victims. So this is what we live in. You know, most of us just kind of want to make do with what we got. So I'm just going through certain Easter eggs, certain different points and things that I've seen, and then I'm going to bring it back to why I feel like they cloned Ogun. So the music is very interesting. They go down a church elevator, go down, see what's happening, see them Clockwork Orange and niggas, and they come back up into a strip club. The first thing you see is a rose, letting you know more of like this is more of a Rosicrucian type of deal. And the thing about Rosicrucians is that nobody knocks on your door and say you are a Rosicrucian. Generally, it's something that happens within your heart, and you were just led to certain areas and certain places, and people will like show up like, oh my God, you followed your heart, right? And it's like it's people like you in this world. So anyways, interesting enough, the song that's played is a song by Gangsta Boo, who transitioned in 2023 rather. That song is called Where Them Dollars At, right? But Where Them Dollars At is just a nerdy thing for me, right? Where Them Dollars At is samples a song by another Memphis rapper named Tela called Show Nuff, right? And right after they play Gangster Boo, Where Them Dollars At, they began to play a song by Ruckus, which is a made-up artist that's only for the movie, and the song that they play by Ruckus is called Round and Round. Coincidentally, Tela has a song called Round and Round, and I was like, wow, maybe the writers of this movie is like, you know, stands of Tela, like I'm stands of Tela, but that'd just be weird too. Another weird coincidence. Like I said, the people who produced this movie, before this movie was even written, we was talking about all of this spiritual stuff in the realms of YouTube videos and personal $5 Patreon readings. That is so real and so true. I could never make up something like that. So, going through some Easter eggs. So, I'm not going to go like, if I was to just go scene for scene and stuff like that, this video would be 18 hours long, right? But it's a point in the movie where they're using this code called Olympia Black, right? That is the code to get them up off the cloning type situation, and you can manipulate the clones by saying Olympia Black, right? So once again, they're tying it back into the movie 13 Ghosts, and I'll explain why. Olympian, right, or belonging to Olympus, is the fabled seat of the gods. So once again, you got to go into the noun meaning, which means one of the 12 greater gods of ancient Greece. So whenever you hear 12, you're dealing with an astrological understanding. This is occult correspondences. Don't ever think they talk about anything else besides astrology when they talking about 12, okay? All right, but let's get into deeper science. Olympus is the abode of the 12 greater gods. Now, what is the movie 13 Ghosts about? The movie 13 Ghosts is about the Black Zodiac. Well, the Black Zodiac is a dark inversion of the normal Zodiac. So once again, the code word for the clones is not Olympian white, Olympian blue, or just Olympus or nothing like that. It's Olympian black. So the Olympus, Mount Olympus, the abode of the 12 gods, talking about the 12 major constellations, right? But even in 13 Ghosts, they said, yeah, it's 12, but we need one more. We need our Ophiuchus, right? We need one more. It's actually 13 zodiacs. That's the mystery. That's why it's 13 ghosts. So, of course, right, we might not know what's happening because we just from the outside looking in. But why is it to solve the whole entire riddle of the movie? To kill the Yakub character, Fontaine utters Olympian Black. And the original Yakub, a black scientist, a black geneticist, that's what's happening in front of you. The original Ogun, the original blacksmith, creating clones all over the planet. One of the ghosts and 13 Ghosts is this dude. His name is the Hammer. And the Hammer got railroad spikes. He was a man, and how the Hammer died is that they poked railroad spikes inside of him, inside of his brain, till he died. That's the way that he transitioned. So when he transitioned like that, this was his ghostly form. Now, the thing about the railroad spike, if you Google Ogun and railroad spikes, it's literally, just Google it. Google is your friend. Ogun railroad spikes. It's literally called a Ogun railroad spike. It's literally called a Ogun spike. It's somebody on Etsy literally selling the same character as the dude from 13 Ghosts for $2,100. The railroad spike and Ogun is synonymous. And this is a character in 13 Ghosts. Now the main character in they clone Tyrone is Ogun. Because Ogun, Tyrone or Fontaine, he could have wore a purple shirt one time. He could have wore some khakis. He could have wore some brown. He could have wore any color. But every time you seen him, he was wearing green. Okay? So, Ogun is in 13 Ghosts, but he's also in they clone Tyrone. And both of these movies talk about the Zodiac. In 13 Ghosts, it's called the Black Zodiac. However, in They Clone Tyrone, it's called Olympia Black. Olympia is the Zodiac. Black is just the same exact words. And what it is like its celestial counterpart, the Black Zodiac is divided into 12 arcane signs. In Kabbalah, this is called the Kalipoth. The Kalipoth is where all of the power is at. The Kalipoth is within you. The Kalipoth is the melanin of black people, which is the royal bloodline. Okay? And actually activating this stuff is activating your immortality. It's activating the point of view that don't die. Even when it's a whole government conspiracy dedicated on your ass dying. Even in your ignorance and your most cloned out, dilapidated form, you are more powerful than your oppression. Unlike its counterpart, these signs represent 12 earthbound ghosts necessary to gain access to the Ocularis Infernum. In addition to these 12 standard ghosts, the Black Zodiac also encompasses a 13th ghost, the Broken Heart, or Ophiuchus. This spirit is the final ingredient in the spell to fully activate Basilius's machine due to being sacrificed willingly out of act of pure love instead of misery. So basically, it is the love of knowledge. It's called philosophy, right? Philos means love. Sophie means knowledge. Philosophy means to love this shit. And when you actually love it, it'll bring you into 13 sign astrology. Now, if you're strong enough to tap into it and understand it, it's a whole nother thing. But you know what it is. As I was stating earlier, we are a universal people. We weren't brought over here on slave ships and just like rolling around in the dirt like yes a massa. Like that ain't us. That whole story have been burnt into our minds. In fact, there were people of color in pre-modern Europe, right? When you think of it, the kingdom of Tyrone, I just want y'all to see this for yourself so y'all can kind of understand. Tyrone is more of a place than it is a person. And when they talking about cloning, they talking about cloning something specific out of existence. Okay? Once again, we're talking about a story of divine purpose, of divine lineage. And sometimes with people, it's kind of like, we're unaware of this. I know I was unaware of it for a large part of my life, just unaware of like Orishas and like African spirituality and stuff like that. But it's like once I open myself up to it, it only helped me and only advanced me. And like this particular story, I'm kind of go through it, is a story of Oya and Shango. And is a particular point in this particular Pataki where Shango gets kidnapped. And Oya has to go on a quest to free him. In the movie, Oya gets kidnapped, right? And then Shango, it's like, I didn't even, like in the movie, they didn't do much character development. So I didn't really feel as if Shango and Oya or Yo-Yo and Charles had that much of a connection towards the end when she had got kidnapped and all they could really think about was rescuing her, right? Much like the Pataki. And then after the end of it, they all come together and they come to a pact like we're never even going to separate. We're always going to work with each other, right? Just like the Pataki. So once again, just throwing that out there. So why am I calling this and why do I feel that they cloned Ogun and what is this really about at the end of the day? And for me, it's just looking at humanity and looking at human beings and understanding that most human beings are clones, right? This is the message that the movie is getting, like bringing across to me, is that people are clones, right? For a lack of better words, okay? So let's deal with this from a spiritual perspective, from a Orisha perspective. A blacksmith, one of the blacksmith in Africa is Ogun. That same blacksmith in Greek is Hephaestus. Hephaestus' day is August 23rd, just to bring it back to the original point, right? Ogun, right, would then be Hephaestus in Greek. The reason that I'm bringing up Hephaestus is because the shit about Hephaestus you might not get on Ogun. And the things about Ogun you might get from Hephaestus. As an occultist, you need to put these things together. Now, you don't have to mix Ogun and Shango shit. You can mix Shango and Jupiter stuff, right? Right? Shango and Jupiter would be synonymous, right? Ogun and Hephaestus are synonymous. Why is this important? Because Hephaestus, right? He was a creator. He was a blacksmith. He created things. What did he create? Hephaestus was the Olympian god of fire, smiths, craftsmen, metalworking, and stonemasonry. The first works page describes other creations of the god, including palaces and animated statues. Stop right there. What is an animated statue? Right? We still in the realms of Yakub. All of these stories are the same. They're just using different names. There is a selection of people that they have minds, they have thoughts, but they are nothing more than animated statues. Hephaestus, the god of fire, or another saying of Ogun, is known as a great smith who created wondrous and magnificent works. Atop Mount Olympus, Olympia Black. Olympia Black. I'm not a clone. I know, but he is. Shoot him. Pop, pop. Movie over. Okay? This is what they're talking about. Hephaestus built a bronze palace for the gods and made golden robot-like statues to serve him. These statues look similar to teenagers, had their own voice, power, and thoughts. Y'all can't even see that, but I'll try to show it to y'all now. Hephaestus created clones. Ogun created clones. Clones are people, and this is just simple mythology. Now, why don't you know about this? Because we live in a world where everything that we quote unquote know has to be told to us. Now, if the person that's telling you some shit don't know shit, how valuable is your information? Let me answer that for you. It's not valuable at all. We live in a world that we have to be so clear that don't nobody know shit. And the people that you love and that you like so much, they might be fucking clones. It be superstars that come and they go. You didn't even know that they was clones in the first place. And they lay it out in front of you. The people such as Tupac and that type of deal. Many of y'all are fans, so I'm not going to go too much into it. So what do you call these particular types of energies now? What you call them now is automatons. It's clones, automatons, ghosts, humans, all the same thing. And it's very subtle, right? It's very much of a simple, subtle thing, because it could be very simple of us to listen to our pastor, listen to our rabbi, listen to our teacher, listen to our parents. One's in the chat if your parents be on some bullshit slightly, right? And they'll be trying to teach you that bullshit. One's in the chat. One's in the chat, you've been doing things your parents been doing your whole life, and you be like, well, come to find out when you grown, like, oh, maybe I shouldn't be doing that. I thought it was okay to throw gambling parties. My daddy been throwing gambling parties since I was 2. What's the problem? I thought it was okay to be a gangster. My daddy been a gangster since I was born. I thought it was okay to be a hoe. My mama a hoe. So just because your mama a hoe, that mean it's okay to be a hoe? No, that don't mean that. So you can't just go off of what people is doing and be like, well, that must mean that I should just be doing that because they be doing it. It's working out for them. You are a automaton. You are a clone. Oh, my spiritual people. Fuck that. It's clones everywhere. At your job, at your church, at the beauty supply store, at the nail salon, at the barber shop. It's some scary shit to begin to really think about, but once you begin to really think about it and open your mind up to it, you like, God damn. Everybody is a damn clone. And if you put yourself out there for these people to see you, that's like that riverboat shit. Everybody that's into that riverboat shit is clones. That's some clone shit. When some shit go viral, that's some clone shit. That's why Spirit said you don't want to go viral. You think you want to go viral, but you don't actually want to go viral because now you're going to be, the clone's going to know who you is. And it's like, it's so many people with grace, with spiritual abilities, that the clones get sight of them and it be over. Because motherfuckers don't even know. Motherfuckers don't even know. They just think it is what it is. We are all human beings. We are all human beings. We are all the same. An automaton is a relatively self-operating machine or control mechanism designed to automatically follow a sequence of operations or respond to predetermined instructions. The clones are the non-playable characters. When you tell your boyfriend, how about we go to the park and meditate? Well, I don't know, system malfunction. I operate over control. Y'all be thinking that shit is cute. In a whole relationship with an automaton. Some automata, such as bell strikers and mechanic, you know where you find all your automatons at? Work. The nature of working in the factory, the nature of working at Amazon is automatomic. I just made that word up. It felt good. It sounded good. I let it go. Are designed to give the illusion to the casual observer that they are operating under their own power or will like a mechanical robot. The term has commonly been associated with automated puppets that resemble moving humans or animals built to impress and or to entertain people. You want to be famous? No, the fuck you don't. Because the moment you famous, they cloning your ass. You ain't say you wanted to get no money. You ain't say you wanted to understand the music business. You ain't say you wanted to make a profit. You said I wanted to be famous. Now here you are entertaining people. Now they inviting you into them rooms. They talking to you about shit and you don't know what they talking about. Why? Because you don't know shit. How is you supposed to know shit? How you supposed to know they out here cloning niggas? Mind you, they done did it in 100 movies. Bobby Hemmett done talked about it in 100 lectures. And boy, that shit went in one ear out the other till it just hit me. 6 months ago, I did a video like a compilation video. And I was talking about clones. And then 6 months later, the same energy came back. And I'm just like, damn. I don't even be knowing, but I be knowing. The word automaton is Latinized, and it means acting of one's own will, right? So these are just, automatons are people that you know and love. They do what they want to do. But if you start having a real conversation with these people, it ain't going to work out the way you going to work out. One's in the chat, if you try to have a real conversation with a person and it went AWOL. This is my last question. I'm going to get up out of here. One's in the chat if you try to have a real conversation with a nigga and it just did not go the way that you thought it was going to go. They flipped out on you, you flipped out on them, y'all flipped out on each other. Why? Because they non-playable characters. Non-playable characters got a set role and function. When you play a role-playing game and you come across a non-playable character, they're going to be like, do you want to buy apples or oranges? Right? Some characters in the game, you can be like, you want to go on a mission with me and fight? Some characters you can go to the store, you can sell shit with, right? You can't play with these characters. You can only ask them for apples or oranges. Now, what that look like, you being in a whole relationship with somebody that you was only supposed to ask for apples and oranges for. But you done figured it out, like, no, I'm going to base my whole game. Imagine you playing a role-playing game and you trying to win the game, trying to talk to a non-playable character. All they ever going to do is say, do you want apples or oranges? Every day you can wake up, code on this game, go to the non-playable character, press X to talk, and they'll say hi, and you'll say hi. It's like, what can I offer you? I have apples and oranges. And you'll be like, damn it! I want you to go on a quest with me. And they'll be like, would you like apples or oranges? Would you like apples or oranges? Even more so, it's the TikTok viral trend of people being non-playable characters. And what's the sad part about it, right? What's the sad part about it? All you got to tell people now, right, is that if you be a non-playable character, you'll make money. So what is that going to do? Now your kids is going... Popcorn. Bubblegum. Ice cream. Good. Good. Ice cream. This is the world that we moving into. And we gonna have millions of people like, ice cream. So, I got one more thing to talk about before I get out of here. One more Easter egg. Now, it's more to do with Erykah Badu in the song they call Tyrone. Now, the thing about Erykah Badu is that she is not the type of person to reveal her artistic process. Like, she's not the type of person to do that. Like, it was this episode where she was, like, trolling DJ Academics. And the whole time, he wanted her to reveal what she was talking about, and she held pat. Like, she one of those type of people, like, you could tell, like, she wants you to figure it out more than she want to tell you what it's about. So I've been listening to They Call Tyrone for at least 20, well, They Call Tyrone, You Better Call Tyrone, for at least about 20 years. And, one of those things is you just under a deep assumption that Tyrone is the dude that she talking about. But Tyrone is not the dude that she talking about, is it? Right? Tyrone is not the dude she talking about. She's talking about her boyfriend, right? And her boyfriend, his name ain't Tyrone. She's telling her boyfriend that you need to call Tyrone, right? I think you better call Tyrone. Call him and tell him, come on, help you get your shit, right? Tyrone is the helper. Tyrone is the Orisha. Why do we know that Tyrone is the Orisha? Because that's a famous ass song. That song is a frequency, right? How to differentiate between frequencies. If I walk down the street and your cousin got a little mixtape called Little Half Dead, and he got a song called Standing on the Corner with My Ass Itching, and I'm walking down the street saying, have you ever heard Little Half Dead song, Standing on the Corner with My Ass Itching? Most of the people are going to say, no, I've never heard of that song. Now, if I walk down that same street and double back and say, have you ever heard of this song? I think you better call Tyrone. They say, yeah, that's Erykah Badu. I know that song. I love that song. That song is an egregore. That song is an Orisha. that song have made people of millions and millions of dollars. When you work with Orishas and you able to imprint yourself within the collective unconscious, then you gonna have to get some residuals for that. So she's still touring to this day off that song, right? So that is an energy. Tyrone is Ogun, okay? You need to call Tyrone. You need to call Ogun. You need to call your ancestors, tell him, come on, help you get your shit. Come on, come on, come on, come on, right? If you got a nigga in your life that ain't shit, you know who that nigga need? He need Ogun. ASAP, right? Start talking about Ogun in front. Like when you get off work and you come home and he laying on the couch, you be like, Ogun, nigga, Ogun. You be like, why you keep saying that? Just keep saying it like the Candy Man. Anyways, that's what I did with this video, and it tended to work out for me. I'm just hoping it work out for you. This has been a labor of love. I actually been working on this video for way too many hours than I can tell y'all. But at the same time, I'm happy to kind of like share this with y'all and move this to the forefront. Oh, one more thing I want to talk about. There's also a Greek mythology in reference to Hephaestus, Mars, and Venus, right? So Hephaestus and Mars could be the double side action of Ogun energy. And Mars and Venus, they have an affair, right? And Hephaestus, he don't like that they have an affair because Hephaestus and Venus is married. But the problem with Venus is that she a hoe. And Venus don't really like, she married to Hephaestus, but she like to fuck Mars, right? So at the end of the day, Hephaestus, like, he do some cheater shit, pull them all on blast. All of the gods is like, damn, your wife a hoe. Look at this nigga, his wife a hoe. This is a real life story type shit. And so I'm saying all of this to say, like, it's ironic that Venus is a hoe in the mythology, and in this particular movie, Tiana Paris plays a prostitute. So just a lot of different things, a lot of correspondences, man. And this is the type of stuff that I'm really, really into. I could talk about this stuff, you know, ad nauseum. So in general, we talking about YouTube. So I never watched a 18-hour video. So I just want to keep this thing concise and as clear as possible, because at the end of the day, you know, God is within you. The kingdom of heaven is within you. Your ancestral memory is not disappeared, is not went anywhere. But the only thing is we need to be like more like the characters in this movie and be researchers, be investigators, be detectives, be scientists. Like, we don't know anything, right? We don't know a damn thing. And the moment we think we know anything, we begin to be lazy and not do the work that we need to do. So for me, I really didn't know where this was going to lead me, and really just didn't just like do a, you know, when this movie came out, people just, they clone Tyrone, I'm just going to talk about it. And for me, I just wanted to sit back. Like I said, I done watched this movie about like 10 times. Like everybody in my family, they like, you know, probably happy I'm done with this because I can like probably take a bath or some shit like that. I haven't took a bath since this movie came out. I'm probably stinking right now. So appreciate y'all. Hit up that Cash App, man. Couple dollars won't hurt, you know, if you took something from this video, if this motivated you to watch a movie. Comment if you this far in the video. Comment another movie I should watch and break down. Put it in the comments. Don't put it in the chat. If you put it in the comment, I'll be able to read it. But I want to watch some more movies. I want to see if I can get any more downloads or break any codes and bring some keys to the people. I feel like I'm good at this. One's in the chat if am I good at this? Did y'all enjoy this video? Did y'all gain something from it? Do y'all like this type of content from me? One's in the chat real quick. Two's in the chat if y'all just want me to, you know, I don't know. I don't care what y'all be really wanting. Not to be following spirit, but at the same time, I just want to get a feedback from y'all. One's in the chat if y'all like this. I would love to like watch a movie that y'all would want me to watch and see if I can just get a raw but naked decode of some shit that nobody was even looking for. I like doing stuff like that as well, because I'm going to look at every character, study the birth date of the fucking director. No, the producer got his ass licked in 1997. You know what I'm saying? You got to factor that in. You got to factor it in. A good salad tossing is going to change everything, right? So make sure you get your salad tossed this weekend. Much love to y'all. I'm signing out. I will catch y'all on the flip side. Peace.
This is some amazing shit. Be honest. Now, we are black conscious people and we don't love the white man. But be honest, and we can say this because we ain't in no church and we ain't around no bourgeoisie. It can't be nobody stupid. It can't be a race as stupid as black people are. And the only explanation for the way black people are so fucking damn idiotic is it got to be robots. It's not the same damn person from the 70s, from the 60s. We done lost our mind. Whether they can duplicate bodies overnight. And they basically kill off a whole race of black Americans. Can you understand what I'm saying? I'm just saying, can you understand it? Because I'm going to tell you something. The name of the war was the Coon War. Now, we have been given the knowledge now, and yet it's still like we're in the 1950s. Worse, because you gave it to the niggas in the 1950s, they would have been with us. I say these is clones. I want to ask this question. If your parents and your grandparents was a certain mentality, and at a certain level, 3 generations down the goddamn line, that person, 3 generations down the line, is supposed to be more advanced than the grandparents. Right? Okay. Black people from the 1930s, 1940s, and the 1920s. 1920s, 1930s, and 1940s. Now, these people were the grandsons and the great-grandsons of slaves that was mutilated in slavery. The greatest Holocaust ever to hit the damn planet. Right? Yet, they produced a culture that wore the suits and the shit better than the white man. The jazz. And an upward mobility. A northern migration. They produced a culture. Now, I want you to hear this. How can a motherfucker produce a culture out of slavery? You just been mutilated months before. You come out of slavery and you produce a goddamn culture. That's bad and grand. Black baseball, black doctors, black lawyers, black this, black that. In the 1950s, you was a powerhouse. You had to break that shit up. Black segregated schools that were producing geniuses with less materials than the white man. And you produce a powerhouse out of slavery. But yet, these are the grandparents we're supposed to evolve beyond them. Yet, we fall in, swallowed out. Something had to happen. I don't give a fuck. And that's how all of them fuck up. That's the ego. Why the hell you want to go on the TV? Oh, we need to go on the TV because most black people need to see. Don't you know the white man, when you go on his TV set, he determines on how much he lets you get out? You can drop all the hell you want. He say, okay, edit this, edit that, edit this. America is being, what is the thing that rules America? TV. That's all it is. The white boy is an illusion. The devil is an illusion. If you go back and read your scriptures, they'll talk about the illusion. They say that they'll have half of the stars in the heavens under his influence. You can't influence a person if you out in California. But now the TV is the eye of the world. And I'm telling you, these crackers done sent all kind of magic to try to kill me and the sister. But what it is the reason why I'm staying alive, because I don't go outside of what them motherfuckers do. Most people don't believe that there's a spiritual world. They say, oh, that's revolutionary. You talking all that old goddamn voodoo shit. So since they don't believe in the spirits, and they don't work with the spirits and shit, the spirits say, well, fuck it. You the man, hands-on policy. This is a hologram that does not exist. That's why you don't deal with matters on the mundane level. All it is you are sitting, a spirit is inside of you, which is you, and it's sitting before a screen. And that particular screen that it is sitting before is showing a movie. Showing a doggone movie. And that movie is the role that you have right now in your life, which does not exist. It's a series of events that don't exist, and that's brought on by the ego. So the concentration camps to open up, and they don't understand. They snatching crowds of them as we go, and the shit is already going down. I look, and in this day and age, I don't take anything as foolishness. Everything is everything, and now you get to the other levels. Everything is everything. When you rule out something, you just limit yourself, because this cracker is more advanced than what you think it is. You see, so now he's the clone. He's the doggone clone at this particular time. Under the ground and the live on time. Why not? Since the original white people was in the first place. The key to the clones is the clones have complete memory of the other person. So therefore, it's not like the other person is ever gone. It just resumes the same life form because it has a complete memory. So we know that it's not getting any better, but he's a clone. We're going to deal with a lot of that today, because they're going to send you the Messiah through these clones.